Hello and welcome to our Introduction to ANOVA and Julia video. This video will be going over the techniques in order to use ANOVA within the Julia language, and a couple of coding examples that you can follow along in Atom as we're going through. ANOVA is still fairly new in Julia, so there are a couple different ways that people have been handling conducting ANOVA in Julia. The first is you could use the custom-built ANOVA module to analyze ANOVA, which we have included the files in this video. You can also use ftest, which is a member of the GLM family and is already incorporated in GLM. Let's move over to the coding portion of this video. So if this is your first time running in the Atom environment, there's going to be a couple packages you're going to need to install. You're going to need to install GLM, data frames, distributions, categorical arrays, argument check, stats model, stats base. Now, these I have commented out. However, you can uncomment them by deleting these quotations here, and then you can run this code on your own, and it is attached to this video. Now, in order to use the custom-built module ANOVA.jl, you're going to have to copy it from the attachments on this video, or you can directly get it from GitHub using this link here. Now, the way we have this set up, we have the ANOVA.jl set up in my desktop path. So we're going to include it, the ANOVA in main.ANOVA, and we're going to use GLM and our datasets. So we're going to start by reading in our table of the superstore data that we have used in prior videos. And to quickly run this, we can just do, if you are on a Mac, press down the command button and then enter. This will read in the data frame. Now, we're going to look into region as well as customer segment. So we want to ensure that those two are set in categorical format because we want to have them be use them as categories. So set region to be categorical and customer segment to be categorical. Once we've fixed these to be categorical variables, we shouldn't run into any problems later where it might categorize it as a different type. So let's fit this model. To begin, we're going to use a fit statement, and we're going to use a linear model. This at formula lets us set up which variables are going to be in the formula, as well as the data frame that we are using, which we are using df. It also has a contrasts argument, where we contrast the categorical region by an effects coding as well as the customer segment by an effects coding. Now, once we run this, we will have our stats model over here, and then run the ANOVA, and we can see here that we have our regions set up. Now, if we scroll over, we can see significance of these different regions. This is the way that we can run the ANOVA and have it set up so that we can tell if each variable is significant at the 0.05 significance level. That will set us up for a one-way ANOVA. However, if we want to run ANOVA for a two-way ANOVA, we'll have to undo this commenting here. Now we're going to do model full with the same exact setup where we have at formula with sales by region and customer segment and set the effects coding this way. And then run the ANOVA on model full and then remove this so that we have more room to read. As we can see, we have these effects codings in here so that we can tell the significance. And it looks like we're not detecting any effects from the customer segment. We're going to run this again using ftest, and you'll be able to see why we don't want to use the customer segment. I'm just going to comment this back out so that it's back in the state that it was originally. Now, that was all using the ANOVA command that we brought in at the very beginning in this main.ANOVA using command. But what if you just wanted to use the functionality that's already in GLM? First, we're going to start off with a model statement. The way that we set this up is we do LM, and in parentheses we have our formula with the variables y followed by x and the data frame that we are using. Now here, if we wanted to compare the whether or not region was significant compared to no effects at all, we would use this statement. However, since we saw earlier that we were running into a significant region, we're probably going to want to move straight into the big model. So here, big model, we have region and customer segments. Now we're going to do an f-test on our big model compared to our regular model. As you can see, our second model is not statistically significant of using the f-test. Now, one thing that might get a little bit confusing is, and I have this statement up here, is you think that you'd be able to run model and big model by themselves. However, there's no method matching that. They specifically want you to nest your models within one another so that you have that you can compare them. So what this is telling us is that model 2 is the big model, whereas model 1 is the base model. This is why I want to take the time to explain this, because when initially looking at this code, I, like others, might have thought that this meant that the initial model was insignificant, when in fact it's an indicator that the big model is insignificant. If you have any questions, feel free to email us, comment on this video, or email us directly at our SDSU accounts.